Welcome in to DC On Screen, a podcast about the DC properties being brought to film and television. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hey.
And this is likely the last time we'll actually be doing a review of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Can't imagine what else we could possibly do it on.
As you guys probably know, they released Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, on Tuesday. It is a 3-hour cut as opposed to the 2.5-hour theatrical cut. So we're going to talk about whether or not the cut did it justice, whether or not it made it better, did it make it worse, did it fix problems in the movie, editing problems. What do you think, Jason?
This is a 3-hour movie, as opposed to the 2.5-hour lump of polarizing confusion that we were offered before.
Okay. Now, this was a 2.5-hour polarizing lump of confusion that we both liked, though.
Yes, but it was definitely polarizing, and we had to do a lot of headcanon to feel good about it ourselves, I admit. I mean, we have hours of us recorded going, all right, here's what I think happened there. Like, there was clearly like some confusing parts, but the film itself we still liked, and we liked what they did with it. The thing I like about the 3-hour edition is I can still have a discussion with somebody about whether I liked what they did with this movie, but now I don't have to argue that it's a whole movie. This is clearly like this thing hangs together because there was a ton of stuff that, especially like involving that Bullet, Lois Lane's whole storyline with the investigation, most anything that happened in Africa. Just whole chunks of this thing that we were kind of going, all right, they didn't have to show me that. I'm assuming that just headcanon. We had to say, like, I'm assuming this happened and I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. And if somebody else assumed a different thing happened, we couldn't exactly prove anything. Well, now we have something. Now we know what happened. And a lot of the questions are answered. Now it's just down to, did you want to see him fight?
Right. And, I think if you hated the tone of the movie, you're not going to dig this.
I don't think this is going to be any different for you. If you just thought Zack Snyder made a bad film, try this version out one time. Just one time.
Yeah. See, the issue was and is that Warner Brothers made him cut it down.
Yeah.
Because they thought that they were going to wind up making more money by having it in theaters more often or more times during a day.
Right.
What they've done is they've cost themselves the $1 billion mark.
Yep.
In doing so. I mean, guys, look at Avatar. Look at friggin' what's the other one? Titanic?
Yeah.
The James Cameron. These are three hours long at least.
Anything Peter Jackson's ever touched.
But yeah, I mean, well, the top two of all time are
giant,
massive movies, and they are very long.
Oh yeah.
So this was Warner Brothers being Ruxin from the league, just constant tinkering and screwing it up. So
yeah,
I posted some on the Facebook page at DC On Screen, but and it's all over Twitter, like people actively apologizing to Zack Snyder, like at Zack Snyder, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought there were some kind of gratuitous parts of the R-rated edition, but it was just barely R-rated. I felt like the violence is definitely there. There was an ass shot from Batman.
Yeah.
Which that wasn't, that's a PG-13 thing. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
I've seen ass in PG-13.
They've literally got it like outlined. It used to be like on television. It used to be you could show 3/4 of an ass at any given time, but not 4/4 of an ass at any given time.
Right.
I'm sure that rule's changed over the years, but they've got this thing like metered.
Sometimes, and then other times, well, we don't really know exactly what the standards are for movies in the MPAA. We just don't.
The way I hear it described though is they don't either. They'll tell you a rule one day and then they'll ignore the rule the other day. And
yeah, there's actually a movie about investigators being like the people who made the movie like hired a private investigator to try to figure out who these people were on the MPAA board, the ratings board, and try to figure out how they made ratings. And yeah, like they actually even had an instance of someone like submitting a movie, getting an R rating, and then sending it back, and they got a PG-13. They didn't do anything to it.
Doesn't surprise me one bit. I assume they throw darts at a wall.
Like, this thing was not anywhere near as like graphic as, say, Deadpool.
No, I mean, the bridge scene alone in Deadpool was probably more violent than this entire movie.
Yeah. We have a character drop the F-bomb. Wallace O'Keefe, I guess his name was. Or Wallace Keefe.
Just Keefe, yeah.
Every time I hear Keefe, I have to throw in an O.
Yeah, it
O'Keefe.
feels very, would it be Irish?
But importantly, what this movie does is it straightens out exactly what's happening. Lex Luthor is behind every damn thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's
and they make sure to like push that home.
Yeah. And one of the things they did that I think clears up just how thorough he's been in his planning is in this edition, Clark gets an invitation to that little the library mixer thing. Him specifically, and we knew in the theatrical edition that Bruce did. But yeah, they were both invited there. So that little silly scene that looked like it was just fourth wall dramatic irony BS. Little inside joke for the audience about you don't want to pick a fight for this guy. No, man, he's been planning this the whole time. He specifically got them there so he could make them meet. And like, I think he was just I think he wanted to see them both in a room together. I think it was like him kind of pre-bragging about how cool his plan was.
Yeah, like they at the beginning of the movie, or close to the beginning of the movie, you find out that he did get that invitation. Then at the end of the movie, he makes it very clear to Batman in prison, Lex does, that he knows who he is. Yeah, not that anyone would believe him because he's insane.
And he seems to imply that he's going to beat the system again before. And that's another new part in the movie is Batman is apparently going to have him sent to Arkham Asylum.
Yep, which is fun.
Which does visibly change his like demeanor. He kind of he does get scared when he hears that, which I loved.
As would we all,
wouldn't you?
But so there's that.
Yeah.
Because at some point in the movie, I found myself watching this again, going, "Wait, no, how could Lex have been sure what Batman? Does he know who Batman is?" And then at the very end, you're like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, he knows. Okay, cool."
Right. He's been sending stuff to Bruce Wayne the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that from the theatrical cut, but it's nice to have that little like
the button,
the button. Yeah, just throw a cap on it for me. Make sure. So yeah, Batman still kills.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But and I watched this.
Whatever.
I literally was keeping a count. I tried to keep count of how many people I thought he killed during the chase scene. It looked like for a second it looked like it was just going to be like 6 or 8, and then it starts getting out of hand. I don't know, man. I think it's like in the 12 to 15ish area. It looked like that I would be happy to say no. Seriously, that man's dead. No chance. Like don't get me wrong. When he just throws somebody against a wall, I'm going, oh, he's crippled. Maybe paralyzed. Possibly going to be in a coma for a couple of years, but not dead. So I'm not counting those people that are just probably dead. I mean, like, he drove the Batmobile into your head.
Yeah.
He blew up your car.
The confusion that I have is not that Batman negligently killed people. My problem comes from, why hasn't anyone bitched about this before with all the other Batman movies? Like, literally every other Batman movie, even the Adam West movie, this dude kills.
He kills a lot of people. And in the other ones,
it is
more negligent than in this one. Because when people were saying negligently, that's the part I was looking. I was trying to keep a death count just for the hell of it. But what I was really looking at, did he kill a single person that didn't shoot at him first? And the answer is no. 0% kill first rate.
And I think it comes down to something like, the fact that, Christopher Nolan is, for whatever reason, a very respected director. Zack Snyder, for some reason, is not.
Right.
I would say they both have about the same amount of hits and misses. Honestly.
I agree. Like, when Zack Snyder hits, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
me too.
300 was just fascinating. Watchmen is still one of my favorite things to ever exist. I know I get all kinds of shit about that, but between the book and that movie, it's just one of my favorite properties that's ever existed.
Yeah. We have been asked on Twitter to do a review of the Ultimate Cut of Watchmen soon.
Oh, okay.
I would love to do a review of the Ultimate Cut of Watchmen.
I could rattle that off right now. It's good. There you go.
Been a while since it's been a while since It's been a while since I actually read the book or saw the Ultimate Cut, so I'd have to go back and probably do both of those.
I happen to have literally done both of those this month, so yeah, I'd be primed and ready to go.
Yeah. I could coast on your knowledge.
You remember it when I started talking?
I would.
You remembered when you saw it in the movie this time. You remember that little...
I did. I caught that. I was proud of myself.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't catch like every Easter egg by any stretch, or not even every Watchmen Easter egg.
No.
But I was sitting there watching it, and Batman throws Superman over his shoulder, and is walking. They do this like beautiful panning shot, and on a pillar is in Latin, "Who watches the Watchmen?"
Yeah.
And I didn't know for certain that that's what it was, but I looked at it and I went, "Oh, I bet that's what that says."
I've seen that before.
And I had to go look it up real quick, and I was like, "Yes, I was right."
Point.
I don't know
Point
Latin,
for me.
but I can guess. But yeah. So yeah, Wallace Keefe's wheelchair is lined with lead.
Yes. Thanks to
That's why Superman didn't hear it.
not Barbara Gordon telling us that.
See it? Yeah. Not Barbara Gordon. Janet Clyburn, whatever. She was actually from the comics. She was like a scientist at Star Labs. That's who Jenna Malone was playing.
Yeah.
So.
And Malone gives us two very valuable... I'm just going to say Malone because I can't pronounce her. Jeanette, maybe? I don't know. She gives us two very valuable pieces of information. Yeah. 3, if you include the fact that she's not a Batgirl or a Robin. 1, the metal, the metal that's in those bullets. We know how she's starting to identify things now. It is untraceable, which is hopefully how that bullet made it through customs when Lois was coming back in. Because for me, that's still the weirdest part of the movie. But yeah, the chair being lined with lead. Like I sat there. I mean, I did. I heard people give the movie shit about like, yeah, man, it's Superman. He should have been able to just like look and see a bomb and all this other crap. No, we can't. This is part of Lex's like immaculate plan, which really looks a lot more intimidating when you've seen the whole thing with the 3-hour cut. Like how much he had planned.
He did a good job.
Oh yeah, yeah. He almost got him.
Even that brutal. There's a brutal shanking inside a prison that shows Anatoly, the KG Beast, and like kind of like it's clear like these shankings are. This is Lex's doing.
These are hits, yeah. And what it makes clear is that Batman isn't sentencing people to death. I mean, because that's honestly like we were even having to justify that. Like, well, I guess maybe I don't know.
Well, okay. I see where that kind of falls apart though for me is. Like, one, why did he start branding pedophiles anyway and sex traffickers?
I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
just branding them alone could just be an odd new twist. Cause,
right. But
one of the
after he found out, like, oh, like so supposedly prisoners kind of thought, oh, he's only branding sex traffickers. I guess we got to kill those guys. Okay, well that becomes clear. They've said it on the news. Batman's totally aware of this.
Yeah,
which I think we actually see the first brand in the movie, like the dude at the beginning.
The introduction, I think, is the first one. And the pictures that Superman gets, or Clark, I guess, are of that guy, as far as I could tell. So in a way, the movie makes it seem like it's been going on for a while, and in another way, even Alfred is like brings it up like, is this a new trick?
Right, but
it is clearly like a new invention of some kind, something that he's just trying out. And I don't know how many people he had to kill, but it doesn't, like, the news made it sound like it was a big deal, but that's kind of more realistic. Right. Like, the news made it sound like it's been going on and a big change and everything, but the actual movie, or the actual plot, only makes it really about, like, one guy. And I think, but I don't know, that's how Lex wanted it to play. It must have had a little more legs to it than that, because Lex has clearly been getting these people killed on purpose.
Yeah, well, the news said there was there was more than one.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of like, well, why would Batman, if Batman knew that it was, it meant that people were gonna kill the person. Why did he stop? What was the plan here? Why was he doing it in the first place? I kind of wanted to know that.
I don't know why I was doing it in the first place. They didn't get we still don't have a good explanation for that. And the sad part is, and this. Not sure how bad of a Batman fan this makes me, but I kind of don't care. I could see him just shrugging his shoulders going, sex traffickers, do you want me to cry? Like, what do you want from me? I mean, I guess I could stop.
Well,
but,
okay.
Sex
part
traffickers?
of me, it is, yeah, part of it doesn't bother me because I'm like, dude, he's at the end of his rope. He's like at the, the big end of his career where like everything, this is the culmination now. Like, without an intervention of some sort, be it through Superman, Justice League, devils coming from the sky, etc., etc.
Yeah.
this guy is about to fall off of the edge of the world. Like, his brain is gone.
No,
like,
he's not even going to fall off the deep end. He's like got a running start and a hop, skip, and a leap over it.
So, like, this guy is just consumed with rage, consumed with vengeance, and you know what? I would be lying if I said that there wasn't some days I didn't have some road rage where I thought, you know what'd be fun? Branding people.
Yeah.
If I'm a vigilante running around at night with all sorts of, like, $1 million weapons, and I can just, I'd probably brand some people. And you know what? The first ones that come to mind, aside from people who cut me off in traffic, sex traffickers.
That's a pretty high up on the list if you're thinking of true villainy in the real world, right?
Yeah. So, whatever. Just for the hell of it. Not even with a purpose. Just let's brand some people.
Yeah. And think about it this way, though. Like, all he's doing now is like solidifying it. I mean, all he did was make a nice little heatable stamp that does what he was already doing anyway. This Batman appears to beat you so hard that, like, he's physically branding you for the rest of your life. You're not going to be able to use that leg again. And I don't know that I've ever seen a scene where seen or read, I guess, that where there's a pack of, random assortment of thugs actually, like, swapping stories about, like, oh yeah, you think you got it bad? I can't even bend this finger anymore. Oh, you think you had it bad? I was in a coma for 2 years.
Right.
I don't know that I've ever seen them, measuring their it's a pissing contest, really, but it would happen.
I think I actually saw a comic once where, like, Batman is interrogating a guy, and he's just kind of had it with him, and he breaks one of the dude's clavicles. And the dude just howls in pain. He's like, "That was your clavicle. You still have one left."
One of those lines I always like from the games. One of his little before he interrogates somebody lines was like, he tells you how many bones there are in the body and how many do you think I'll have to break before you talk, something like that.
Yeah, I like my Batman a little brutal. I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's one of the fun things when you get to have, like, a Batman and Superman, where, like, Batman's kind of, like, right there on the edge, like, he's on that raggedy edge. He's about to break some bones, and Superman's like, dude, that's not necessary.
Then the retort is always, yeah, for you.
Don't be naive, Clark.
I've got to actually hurt people to make them do stuff. You just show up and they're like, what do you need? Speaking of brutal, though, look on Martha's face.
Mm-hmm.
And there were many scenes, and we'll get this wrong. I guarantee you we'll get this wrong somewhere in here about we'll think a scene that was not in the theatrical that was in the Ultimate or vice versa or something like that. Because,
sure.
Come on, we watched it months ago and we didn't exactly sit down and, like, press play on both editions.
Right. We don't have that kind of time.
Or technology. Meaning I don't own a second.
I have the technology.
I don't own a second monitor. Those days are past me.
I do.
I know. It's pretty fun.
Why are those days past you?
I can't
That's
afford
a
it
sad
anymore.
thing.
Can't afford it anymore. Had to get rid of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, I
Also,
don't know what that means.
Well, there's some
You already own them.
There's some stuff with the computer too.
Oh, okay.
Long story. Long, boring technology story. But
Okay.
yeah, like that little shot of Martha, man, was killer. I didn't realize it wasn't in there, but she nods her head maybe 1/8 of an inch, and it's all she needed. It was crushing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the thing that probably got cleared up the most though is Africa, right?
Absolutely. Africa was a big, steaming pile of confusion for a lot of people.
Yes.
And I've seen some reviews where people are still confused, and to that I say, I don't know how to help you.
I mean, there are parts of it that are, come on, there's some movie logic in there. There is. Like, there are parts of it if you look too close at anything.
Sure. Well, that's with anything.
But it's more clear now, because all we had before was, like, he seems to kill one guy in Africa, in the theatrical version, tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like he comes in, kills, and we're only going to say probably kills, but he does slam him through a freaking brick wall, which will do it most of the time.
Right.
Kills one guy who appears to be a warlord, and comes back, and then
the U.S. sent the CIA to, like, deal
to at least
with,
investigate. Like Jimmy Olsen, we know he's a spook. We don't know anything else though in the theatrical. So we know.
And to be clear, if someone other than Snyder wants to bring back Jimmy Olsen, all they have to say is that the real Jimmy Olsen got into a little bit of reporter trouble, had to go into witness protection, and they replaced the real Jimmy Olsen with a CIA spook. That's all they have to do to bring back Jimmy Olsen, dude.
Or, I mean, it's a CIA spook. His name can be whatever the hell he wants his name to be. That guy's actual name could be Michael Turner.
Yeah. It would make sense for, like, the CIA guy to, like, just change his name to the name of an actual well-known photographer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
and also
they
he
could bring
could
back
just
Jimmy Olsen
he
if they
wouldn't even
want.
have to go into witness protection. He can just pull the name of that. Like it's not like some rebel leader in Africa knows Jimmy Olsen's face. He's not going to read his hear his name and look him up and go for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, the guy didn't even realize that,
Or they could be taking
Lois.
cues from the books, where like Jimmy Olsen's little chest full of disguises and stuff, right? Could be like that. That guy could actually look like Jimmy Olsen. It's just he's put on a bunch of facial hair and stuff. Like they might have
Right.
actually picked a spook who really does look like him and sent him out as Jimmy Olsen.
But that warlord was like, Lois Lane, I look forward to meeting him.
Right. Yeah.
They told me it would be a reporter, not a woman. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
They did not tell me it would be a woman. I'm not a woman, I'm a reporter. You want to tell Superman that? Because you might need to know that information, Lois.
Apparently
Why can't you be both?
Apparently he was well informed on all counts. Because he was just hanging around the corner, I guess. But no, like in theatrical Africa, all you get is Jimmy. We've dug that grave now. We get like there's a hint that the CIA's there. We know that he's a warlord, or it looks like he's a warlord at least, and he at very least he looks like a terrorist. He's not someone that we have any sympathy for. Superman seems to come in and probably kill him.
Seems that way.
It looks very.
I mean, he could have thrown a fist, at the wall and just knocked it through.
Yeah, I mean, he could have protected him. It's possible. We'll just go with probably kill him for now.
Yeah.
And then we get back, and there's they cut to a TV of some unnamed woman, describing the violence and oh, it was terrible, and I don't think he answers to anybody, not even God. Okay. Yeah. That's nothing. I mean, that's absolutely nothing. There's no for the rest of the film, you're wondering why do we care this much about Africa? Like, why are we having Senate committee? Like this kind of stuff happens all day. Like, how did you even get a subcommittee? How did you get C-SPAN interested in this thing? No, this one makes a lot more sense. Beast comes in, shoots everybody, burns the bodies to make it look like Superman did it, and then specifically sits there and watches to make sure that Superman pops in and to announce himself with the drone thing, which, by the way, why would you rob me of that scene, WB?
Awesome.
That was an awesome explosion.
And that when Superman flies through that drone,
yeah,
and it explodes, and it pans, and we see KG Beast
smirking,
smiling.
Yeah.
I think it was a Squadcast put up a picture that screenshot and said that was Zack Snyder's expression when the Ultimate Edition came out.
Right.
And everyone was like, "Oh shit, it's good."
Yeah. I'm wondering if Rotten Tomatoes is going to have a separate score for the Ultimate Edition, because I'd like to see it.
I would like to see it as well, but I don't think they will.
Or at least I'd like to see if this if they just book it as one film, if the score maybe goes up a little bit.
The last time I saw it was still pretty damn low.
It's going to be hard, right?
And then other, certain people like Devin Ferrasti over at Birth Death Movies or whatever, Birth Movies Death, he said that he actively said on Twitter he would not be watching the Ultimate Cut. But we already knew that, didn't we, Devin?
You're cheating yourself. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
He just has a vendetta against DC for some reason or another.
Yeah, there'll always be those. But Africa alone, there's a lot more explanation for why it was supposed to be Superman that did it. It's clearly a frame job, and they show you the pieces of how it's a frame job, so you can actually work with this now. I can see there needing to be a subcommittee, because apparently he didn't. This wasn't even a warlord. This was just a rebel leader. It was clear that there's a civil war and that he chose a side, and so now we've got this whole. Now you can actually get C-SPAN there and start talking about how does he going to choose sides and unilateral, all that stuff. But it all makes sense now. And then you get back to the woman was Kahina Ziri. Am I saying that? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, I believe so.
Which I didn't catch at all as a pull from an Aquaman story.
Who would?
Way over my head. Sorry. But yeah, Kahina Ziri. She actively avoids Beast when she sees him at her. I guess it's her apartment for now. It seems like they're hiding her, and she just straight up books it, and then she does end up getting tied up. He does end up killing her finally, but before that she makes it clear to.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was. Before that, she makes it clear to Senator Finch that, hey, guess what? So I was given a script, and then I read it off, and Luther planned this whole thing.
Yeah.
which barrels into Senator Finch having a little scene before she goes in to get blown up, where she's talking about he's been using us the whole time as a puppet theater. Like, she's actively already afraid before she goes in there because she sees how deep his plan is.
The peach tea scene makes a lot more sense that way.
Absolutely.
Too.
It didn't make as much sense for her to be that scared because he just like managed to get a cup of piss on there, and then he's not there, and that's weird. But like, it's odd that he managed to get that up there. But yeah, that whole scene hung together a lot better because all of her emotions seemed completely justified after that.
Yeah. Speaking of actions being justified by added scenes, the entire Clark investigation into Batman
all hangs together a lot better.
Yeah.
Before it was just, stop investigating Batman, and we're sitting there going, when were you ever investigating Batman?
And also, the old black dude that he talks to that says he's on the hunt and he's mean and blah, 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 and shows him the lottery card.
Oh, I had to write down that line. There's a new kind of mean in him. He is angry, and he's hunting.
Yeah, that explains that, that makes it clear that Batman has not always been this crazy.
Right.
But I love that guy.
Oh, I wanted more of him.
Yeah, and can we have him in every movie?
Right.
Can he just be like, don't even like have him be there for a reason. Just like have him in the background somewhere.
Right.
Like we see him on the news and, he's just yelling something belligerently.
Right.
I don't care. I will kind of want to see him from time to time.
Right.
Maybe not even every movie, just every once in a while. So just pick him up on Arrow. It doesn't even have to be the same universe. He's an alternate version of him. I just really like that guy.
You just like that guy. I'll tell you this.
He
He had one of the best lines I think I've ever seen left on a cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new kind of mean in him. Oh man, that line gave me chills.
Yeah, he was good.
But a couple of quiet scenes though, like Clark calling his mom in the middle of the night to ask why Dad never left Kansas.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah, I mean
that was good.
I just wish it was more simple. It gave you a lot more of a clear idea of how much Clark really is struggling with this. Like, he's got a singular problem that no one could possibly help him with.
Now, when he goes to the mountain, and they added in a scene where like he walks past a couple of guys at the foot of the mountain, and the guy says he has come here to die. I laughed. I'm not sure it was meant to be funny, but it just seemed like something out of a Sandler movie to me almost. Like, the tone of it, where it was like, this guy is being serious. Like, he thinks Clark is going to die.
Yeah.
But just the fact that he's watching him walk up, and he's like, he has come to die. I don't know. I laughed really hard. And maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. Maybe that was a clever, throw in for levity's sake. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It made me laugh.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but I'm going to vote no.
I mean, it just seemed like one of those lines where it was like, oh, the puny human who doesn't realize that the other guy is like a god,
right,
is perplexed by the god's decision to do a thing, and believing he is human, says something wholly ignorant.
Well, the fascinating part about that scene is
it chuckles.
It does. Well, yeah. It does. Let me put it this way. So there's a scene where he goes and like quote talks to his dad. Which
actually I think made me cry more than it did in the theater.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't even think they added anything to that.
No, that part was all as it was. But
I had a minute to actually just sit and take it in.
But it's clear now that like he does actually go walk up to this giant mountain. He goes for a walk, and in a very Superman-y kind of way, he can go like walk up a giant mountain if he wants to. But it creates as much confusion as it stopped for me, because it does answer the question of like, does he just like fly out to the middle of nowhere? And we were having to guess like, I don't know, man, fortress. Like maybe he just likes the Arctic because there's not as much distractions around there, which is probably true.
I mean, it's not like he's really feeling the cold.
No, the cold's no bother, and there's less. He can't like hear freaking 5,000 babies crying in the immediate vicinity in Metropolis. But it creates the problem though of like, I'm going to call that guy Sherpa because why not? Does he see a lot of people go stroll up that mountain suicidally? Because the way he says it, it's like, yep, got another one.
I kind of wanted this scene to last a little bit longer. He's like, he has come here to die or whatever. The other guy goes, you say that about everybody. That mountain is like a mile high. It's okay.
He'll make it, man.
Nothing's wrong.
Like, we climbed it yesterday. We're back before dinner.
Or it was just two guys, and like one guy wanted to go up the hill and the other one didn't, and he's like, he has come here to die. He's like, no, you're going up that hill with me.
Right.
Quit being dramatic.
Yeah. And really everything about Lois Lane's investigatory prowess was left out of the theatrical cuts. Just all of it. And she has this thing figured out. She figures it out before Bruce or Clark does.
Well, she's good, and Clark is. I mean, he doesn't even have a degree, as noted in Man of Steel. The man. I mean, they didn't actually say that, but all the time I assume he took with college. He would have taken with college. He spent roaming the land,
roaming the cells. Yeah,
listening to Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how he got a job as a reporter other than through Lois.
Natural writer, I suppose.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is? Well, I don't know. I mean, we just watched Daredevil season 2, and apparently you don't have to have any training to be a reporter. Like, they just took Karen Page and threw her in, like...
Yeah. No,
in Urich's old office, so...
Let me put it this way. Fake it till you make it.
I guess so, yeah.
She got him the interview, and he managed to pull that off, and she thought, well, maybe it'll work.
Yeah, maybe.
But she figures out the bullet thing. She figures out, with the help of her scientist friend here, she's figured out the bullet. She's figured out the bombing at the Capitol, where that was what was going on with that the whole time.
Right.
We get the lead line apart. She even goes to Keith's apartment and finds new groceries, and which indicates that he wasn't planning to actually die that day. Mm-hmm. She puts the pieces together on it being Lex really pretty damn well. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the Steppenwolf scene, I've had some time to think about it, because it went back and forth. He released it afterward, right? Because he didn't necessarily want to make it a stinger quote.
Right.
There were some people that said that, hey, you disappointed your fans there. I would politely insist that you can look up before the movie actually starts whether there will be a stinger, and not stay afterwards if you don't want to.
That's true.
They have whole websites devoted to that.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Don't get me wrong. I looked it up, and then I still stayed just because I wanted to make sure. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen those things be wrong. But he released it later. He didn't want it to be a stinger. Some people said like, he's just trying not to copy Marvel. He's just talking out of his ass now. I liked the idea of the scene being extra, but I wouldn't have liked it as a stinger, because if you'd put that in the movie where it was supposed to be, great. Yeah. It works just fine there. But if you'd put it at the end of the movie, I would have been confused. Like, why is there still a SWAT team? You'd have had to truncate it to basically just a shot of Steppenwolf. Yeah. Which would be cheating me a little bit. Like,
I agree.
Or it'd be a shot of somebody, and then we'd all get to argue on the way home whether it was Steppenwolf, and
I don't know. So, what else, man? What else?
All of Clark's investigation, great stuff, because it filled in that gap. Yeah.
I liked all of that.
Oh, the Superman carrying out bodies after the explosion.
Liked that. And I liked that he left, and then the news was still like, and why did he leave? It seems to implicate him.
Yeah, because that's what the news will do.
Yeah.
Probably the coolest shot. I mean, that him flying through the drone was pretty great. I felt cheated already, but probably the coolest shot is the security guard footage, or the security footage of Batman attacking LexCorp.
Yeah, that was good.
That was man, that was perfect.
A lot of fun.
A lot of great lines that got dropped, like Alfred, "So falls the house of Wayne," and then later Batman saying, "I don't deserve you, Alfred." And, Alfred, who is always going to one up him. It's like the one guy he can't win an argument with. Mm-hmm. Love that. Good shots. There was a little bit of stuff from Lex. I don't know how to lose. Superman, you'll learn.
Mm-hmm. And I liked that line, but I hated even though it felt real, it felt classic Superman when he said, "You've lost" to Lex.
Yeah.
I kind of hated it, and then I don't know how to lose. You'll learn. Okay, you saved it.
I don't know. There is something like 1940s Superman about it. Like, you've lost.
You've lost,
Thor. Yeah, it's kind of endearing in a way.
The hammer is my penis.
Right. Yeah. A couple of little loose ends, like what happened to Martha afterwards. Well, SWAT team comes and picks up all the pieces. Some extra shots of the city in mourning and all that. There was a little bit of, like, Pete Ross got his way back in.
He did, but when the police came and saved Martha,
Yep.
you can see like the Batwing taking off in the background, and she like waves at him, like
Thanks, man.
I don't know, I like that one.
I did too. I did too.
But yeah, Pete Ross, he got off from the IHOP.
Yeah, he took a day.
To
come
point a finger at Clark and go, I knew it.
Right.
I don't know why he was there.
Well, there's not a good reason, and like that was one of those things where you saw him in this cut and kind of went, "Oh, okay," and that's really all you have to offer it.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing, though. I noticed in this cut they extended they showed all the the empty city and Metropolis and everything because everyone went to Superman's funeral, which is fine, and made me feel like warm feelings.
Yeah.
Except where I was like, oh wait a minute, like people weren't even willing to not go to work when the world was ending and there was an alien invasion in Man of Steel. They even doubled down on that notion in this movie where they showed everybody at Wayne Financial and Bruce is like, get out of the building.
But I need overtime.
But Superman croaks and everyone leaves.
This report is due tomorrow. I mean, if the world doesn't end, my ass is screwed if I don't have this report ready.
And they were going back and forth. They were showing the city and then they were showing Smallville and stuff.
Yeah.
I would give real money if they did an ultimate edition and all it added was the same two fat dudes who were in Man of Steel and the IHOP at the end of the world. If they were just still the only two people, they were just hanging out in an IHOP.
Yeah. They've moved to Metropolis,
Superman fighting Fiora in the middle of an IHOP didn't stop us from eating pancakes.
Now, what you've accidentally turned this into is the movie segues itself into its own how it should have ended.
Right. Or at the very least, just see them walking up to the same people walking up and pulling on the door and it's locked and it's closed and they're like, what? Sorry, guys. I have a weird sense of humor. I apologize.
Pete Ross did get to deliver the one line about an anonymous donor is taking care of the check on Clark's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that was Bruce.
You gotta think. I mean, it cuts right to him, doesn't it?
Or was it Lex?
Yeah.
He was behind everything else.
I know that. The funeral, the extended edition of the funeral really does give you some warm and fuzzies. I don't know what it is about the fact that Perry White and the rest of the staff pretty much all took off. Perry's been doing nothing but bitching at Clark this whole movie, but now that he's dead, everybody the entire office clears out and flies to Kansas for this meeting.
Well, I think even Perry White is he doesn't want, he's oh, nobody wants to hear about Clark Kent versus the Batman, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But then, at the end of the day, he's dude, he died for a story. He died for a story he believed in.
Yeah, that would get
or
his,
he was
the few heartstrings Perry White still has, that would get him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it absolutely would.
Now, Perry White actually is, all right, there's at least one thing that was created this movie created at least one inconsistency that wasn't there in the theatrical cut that I can think of.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's plenty of more that I haven't thought of because we just love this movie and rose-colored glasses and all that crap that we're going to get accused of. Mostly, I'm sure that we missed them just because we're going to miss things. Perry pitches the headline. I think it's Gotham football or whatever. 10 yards between 10 yards from glory or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see the actual line again if I could, but he says 10 yards between glory and failure or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Now that we've seen the extended football scene, which was apparently shot specially and then dropped completely, except for a background, there was a background footage somewhere that I remember seeing in the theatrical cut, but you couldn't even tell really what was happening. No, we get the whole scene, which delighted me because I thought it was freaking hilarious that they had ESPN college football covering this thing, and those were real anchors, by the way. I watch those guys every Saturday coming up in the fall. The score's 58-0, and Metropolis State could take a knee. I think it's Metropolis State. Could take a knee. Instead, they pull a freaking Pete Carroll, which anyone who knows what I'm talking about will know. And decide to up the ante, go for a long pass. You literally, if you're playing NCAA football on online on Xbox, whatever your choice of poison is, they have sportsmanship points when you're playing other players. When you're doing online playing, if you do crap like that, they literally take away 200 sportsmanship points. Essentially, the online system tags you as kind of a dick. Because you're not supposed to run up the score like that. Point is, it was a 64-point game. There was nowhere near, 10 yards wouldn't have done shit for Gotham. To me, that's a new inconsistency.
Okay.
A lot of football crap in there you don't give a damn about.
Yeah, I care exactly zero amount.
Yeah. Oh, and then they get the little line at the end of that. It's going to be an ugly night in Gotham. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I dug the football thing because it was just so much fun for me.
Yeah. One thing I did like is that they threw in that Jon Stewart footage.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was footage from, like, when in the comics they decided to have Superman, like, renounce his American citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you were saying, it was old. It was the old set.
To me, it looks like the old set, and yeah, I mean, I'm
pretty sure that's from a few years ago. I mean, clearly it was old, but yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with the Daily Show enough. Screen Rant actually did say it was new footage that was shot for the movie, but I don't believe.
Yeah, they said it was recorded specifically for the film, and you know, I think Jon Stewart's hair has been that level of gray for a few years now.
About 10 years. Yeah.
So, like, dude, the Daily Show tired him out, man. That was his.
Yeah.
I think he was like salt and pepper when he took that job.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah,
he actually got more gray than the president.
Yeah, which is hard to do. Go check the hair of any president; it grays in 4 years.
Yep. So I don't think I mentioned it, but the priest.
Yeah, the priest.
It was the same priest from the guy that gave Clark's eulogy.
Yeah.
Was the same priest that he went and talked to. So this dude, he gave some knowing looks toward Martha. I'm like, dude, you know he's Superman. Like, there's no way you don't know from that talk you had with him in Man of Steel.
Yeah,
like,
his little personal vicar there.
Yeah, so I was pretty happy with his return. I was happy to see him again. I'm pretty sure I didn't notice it in the theatrical cut because I had to pee.
Yeah.
But by the time he comes in, I was pretty heavily just trying to hold back some piss.
It was a long movie, man.
It was a long movie. I don't know what I think. I think this Ultimate Edition really does. It makes the movie so much better.
And just for that reason, it actually is a lot more enjoyable because you can pause it.
You can't pause it.
Like, it's not distracting at all. Like you're not worried about. Yeah. Oh my God! I thought that was going to be the finale. Oh, can you two please just fight? I have to pee.
Mm-hmm.
You got more stuff out of Bruce Wayne too, Bruce Wayne the pill popper. And
well,
some,
I imagine that
a
those
nice steaming plate of Affleck ass.
Right. I don't think those were like, Mama's Little Helper type pills to like ease the pain. I think those were like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 20 years and my knees hurt pain.
Yeah.
Ease the pain,
Yeah. I mean, they don't necessarily, let me put it this way. There are non-narcotic painkillers all day. We don't necessarily have to assume that was hydrocodone on his bedside.
Mm-hmm.
Could just be like the high dose ibuprofen they give you sometimes.
Right.
I mean, he could also have like, I don't know, endometriosis or something. We don't know. I mean, we never talked about like Batman getting older and, certain elements might develop that he was never going to be able to do anything about.
Yeah, I mean,
that wouldn't right.
Hey, we've all seen Batman Beyond. You know how these things go down.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen him, drop the pills in Epilogue and Terry come and pick him up for him.
Dude gets older. You
haven't truly wept for Batman until you've seen him as an old man on the ground
trying to pick some pills. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
Yeah, that one hurts.
It's rough. Anyway, so are we done with this? Is this
one more thing you went into earlier? I don't know if you've said it here. We were talking earlier before we started. The thing with Lex's dad.
We would never do that.
No, I know.
Oh, yeah. There's a line where Lex says, there was an article before the movie came out that was in Wired or something, but it said it made it seem like Lex's father, Lex Luthor Sr., was deceased. And now this could be the rantings of a mad person, or it could be a real thing. But there was a scoop years ago that Bryan Cranston was in talks to play Lex Luthor. And they have said that was the case at some point, but then they opted to go the Jesse Eisenberg route, tech billionaire route. And that he was Lex Luthor Jr., which was a weird choice for me, I thought. But the guy who originally made those scoops was talking about how it would be, it was everyone, he made the scoop. That's what he heard from his sources, that it was Bryan Cranston. And then all of that fell through. Nothing happened. Nothing like that happened. Bryan Cranston was like, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard about that. Mm-hmm. Which is a weird claim. you could just say, yeah, we had talks, but then that fell through. But to say you've heard nothing about it is a weird claim. And this guy thinks that maybe, like, and the theatrical cut maybe supports this a little, or not the theatrical cut, the extended cut maybe supports this a little bit, because Eisenberg Lex says to Senator Finch, if I keep it the same, talking about the room, if I keep it the same, maybe he'll come back.
Right.
Which makes it seem like his dad abandoned him, just left for some reason or another, went somewhere else. Would it be awesome if Bryan Cranston was like Lex Luthor Sr. and just came back for a later movie?
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
I'm not saying to, like, replace Eisenberg, but just have both. That's what I was talking about. Like, there is some conjecture floating around on the internet that he might still be a possibility. I mean, he's playing friggin' Zordon in the Power Rangers right now, so.
Yeah. I mean,
which he played. Did you know that he did voices for the 2 of the Power Ranger monsters on the actual show?
No.
And that the character, the first Blue Ranger, Billy Cranston, was named after him.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just saw that in a bunch of trending news on Facebook this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Brian, you wonderful bastard.
Been awesome since the beginning, haven't you, kid?
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman is exactly as advertised. It is the Ultimate Edition. I think it's a fine movie. I think it, takes it from probably, I don't even know what I rated it, if I rated it, but it would take it probably from a 7 for me to 8.5 territory. Thought it made it a wonderful movie.
Yeah. For me, it takes it from the 80s to the 90s at least.
Yeah, fixed a lot of issues, fixed a lot of problems.
It's just a more complete film now.
It absolutely is.
Flows better. There's still choppy editing a little bit in the final fight scene with the spear and everything, and apparently that's never.
I didn't even think that. Like, I really didn't. Like, I felt like we've talked about the problem with the spear.
It has a story journey.
It has a story journey, but I think like Lois, I think it's just incredibly short-sighted. She grabs a spear, she throws it down deep into some damn water, because she was like, I gotta get this away from Superman. I mean, gotta get away from Clark. He's gonna hurt him, gonna kill him. And then a few minutes later, like a few minutes later, she's smart. She's like, oh crap, Doomsday. Oh crap, he came from the ship. He's probably Kryptonian. Batman and Superman and Lois all come to the same conclusion that they need that damn spear again.
Yeah.
Like, when she threw it down there was not a Doomsday popping out of the woodwork.
There wasn't another giant Kryptonian thing to worry about.
There was just an asshole with a pointy hat, with pointy ears on his hat, trying to kill the man she loved.
Right.
Now suddenly, we have to go get this spear again.
Really did not require a spear. That. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this Wonder Woman cat didn't seem like she was on the wrong side of anything, so we don't need the spear for her at all.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that I think that I saw that was an error is Batman tells Alfred that he doesn't have any more kryptonite weapons left. And then, a few minutes later, he shoots Doomsday with, one last kryptonite gas bomb.
No, he said he only had one more cartridge, I thought.
Did he? Okay, that would fix my problems.
I think he just said he had one more cartridge. Hey, we'll go watch it again. Okay. See.
Damn.
Do this whole thing again. I think so, and I'm still maintaining in the fight. Everyone said, "Why does it have to be Clark? Only one with the strength to actually pierce him, other than Wonder Woman. And if Wonder Woman wasn't holding him back, he wouldn't have had a chance."
Mm-hmm. By the way, I don't think she changed at all. I don't remember seeing anything different with her in the movie, but
she got a little bit longer scene in the when looking at the fake Alexander sword. She got a little bit more scene there.
Okay,
with her and the Curator.
Gal Gadot, man. Gal Gadot.
100% with her, right?
Absolutely. I want to hug her.
Mm-hmm. Just nailed it.
Not in a wrong way.
No.
Not in a wrong way.
Genuinely appreciative way. In a thank you for getting this character right kind of way.
In a genuine, you are badass and adorable and thank you for doing this right kind of way. Yeah.
We've needed this done right for a long time and you got it. Good work.
Also, I kind of want to see if she's taller than me because I kind of get the feeling she is.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know. I could probably look it up and know for real, but
yeah, that Google just tells you that shit now.
Yeah, they just do. They're just like, how tall is she? Oh, she's 47 million feet wide. Yeah. No, she's 5'10". So yeah, I totally dwarf her.
Yeah,
I'm 6'4". So
She'd be just under my height, yeah. Like if she was wearing heels, I think we'd be dead even.
That's weird, because she looked gigantic compared to Amy Adams in the premiere.
Apparently Amy Adams is a shorty.
Apparently she a shorty, yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to call it for this episode, man. I do.
Ooh, 5'4", yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, all
right. Yeah, that does it, man. That's, I think that wraps us on reviewing Batman v Superman, unless they come out with another damned edition.
That'll be like a 10-year release or something.
Right,
yeah.
Right. The Pepperidge Farm edition.
Yeah.
Just some old dude narrating everything. And it turns out it's Clark from the future.
Yeah.
Like, I remember.
No, what we'll do is we'll cut this episode and then do a review of our review. And
right.
See where it gets us.
No, I'm not doing that. Oh man. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you thought of the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, DCOnScreen.com. You can email us at DCOnScreen@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, DC On Screen, Twitter, DC On Screen. Are you getting the trend? That's what's happening. It's a pattern. Guys, go check out our buddy Scott Madison, planetrisecreative.com /podcast. Go check out our buddies Jacob and Steve at Screensplosion Podcast. We still have a Suicide Squad cast review to do tonight, so we're gonna take off. We're gonna do some editing work on this, and then we're gonna record some more tonight.
Woo.
So you get that later on.
I'm gonna go get some, drink a good bit of water, hydrate, get ready.
Until next time, very soon next time, but next time nonetheless, keep some DC on your screen.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Here's to choice, to making your voice be heard, to getting exactly what you want, especially when you eat. At Subway restaurants, you choose your freshly baked bread, meats, cheese, and veggies to make a sub that's just right for you. Come in and create yours today. Subway, eat fresh.